Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BAR. My name is Claire. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and read our campus recreation waiver, and then we'll get started. So, in order to make these classes as freely accessible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you remove nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you are participating in a yoga class or class that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical examination and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. Okay, and with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. You can just go ahead and get started on your mat for today's class. You're just going to need a mat, some room to move, and a place to rest your hands on during our bar portion. That can be a chair, desk, or anything like that. We're just going to get started by stepping side to side and rolling our shoulders. While we do this, I'll give a brief introduction to bar. If you're new, bar is a combination of yoga, Pilates, and ballet. We focus on targeting small areas and muscle groups with small movements with high repetition and pulsing. All right, we're going to shift to moving our shoulders forward. Just a nice, easy, quick warm-up before we get into our express class for today. If you're listening to music throughout today's class, feel free to play that music and maybe go along with the beat. All right, keeping our feet shoulder distance apart, stretch that arm out across your body, grabbing either in front of or behind your elbow, but not on it. Just a nice stretch, maybe a nice slight bend in those knees. And then switching arms. A lot of times in the morning, I feel very tight, so I appreciate some nice stretching before we get started. A few more here. All right, and we're just now going to start by shaking out our body and loosening up everything. So add a slight bounce in those feet, bouncing from side to side, and just shake out your arms, shake out your shoulders, shake out your head. We're just loosening up, letting out all of our stresses from today as we get started for this nice, quick class. Bouncing back and forth. Whew. Feeling that heart rate raise a little bit as we jump for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. All right, keeping your feet shoulder distance apart, clasping your hands behind your back, interlocking your fingers, and then facing your palms out from behind you. Nice chest stretch. And with this, we're going to add on a little warm up of our feet as well. With a slight bend in that left leg, raise that right foot in front of you. First in a nice tendu pointed foot, and then lifting it off the ground. Just a nice little balance challenge. Rolling that foot to the right, and then rolling it to the left. Pointing and flexing, whatever pace you'd like. If you're struggling a bit balancing, just picking a point in the room and focusing on that. And then switching feet. Now a slight bend in that right foot, pointing that left foot out in front of you, and then lifting it off the ground and rolling to the left or right, whatever direction you want. And then just switching directions. Waking ourselves up this morning with some nice low impact workouts. So pointing that foot and flexing, pointing and flexing. We got a few more. Bringing that foot onto the ground, letting your chest and upper body fall down as we open up our arms. Bending your left leg, straightening your right, and then switching between them, just opening up our chest as we switch. Good. All right, getting that heart rate a little bit more raised and getting into our positioning, we're going to go into a nice second position, Grand Plie. Turning your feet out, feet a little bit greater than shoulder distance apart. You're going to take a nice deep bend in those legs so that your knees are above your ankles and you have a nice deep bend. And as you straighten, bringing your arms from the side above your head to a nice first position, and then back down to second, and just plieing and straightening. Second position, grand plie, is a great move for engaging all of your leg muscles and getting that heart rate nice and raised. One important note about positioning here, make sure that you picture you're sliding up and down a wall. What this means is you have a nice neutral spine. You're not tucking in or out your glutes, just neutral sliding up and down. And if you want to get that heart rate a little bit more raised, we can just do it double time. Plie, straighten, plie, straighten. Whew, I am feeling my heart rate raise as we go for 4, 3, last 2, last 1. Staying in plie position, we're going to raise, straighten our feet, shift our hips so they're facing the side. So we are in a nice lunge position, and with our hands on our hips, bending those legs so your right knee, or front leg for me, your knee is above that ankle, and a nice 90-degree bend with that back foot. Straighten those legs, open up back into that second position, grand plie, and then shift to facing the left leg now in front, going down into a nice plie, same positioning, straightening and opening. So we're just going from second position, grand plie, to a nice 90-degree lunge as we wake up our glutes. Whew. You can go whatever pace you like as we get started. I always find that the warm-ups are kind of some of the times where I feel like I get the most sweaty, my heart rate starts raising. Maybe it's different for you. If at any point during today's class, if you have any questions, or if you just need to take a break, feel free to pause or use our chat function. All right, we got 4 more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Staying in second position, we're now going to face our feet towards the front, bring our arms up towards the sides of our heads. And while we're regaining our breath, we're going to shoot our arms down so they come in between our legs. Feet facing forward. We're just going to give our legs a nice slight deep bend and then straighten. Looking in between them as we bend and straighten. I'm feeling very tight this morning, so take as much time as you need to feel like you're giving your body the adequate time to wake up, engage those muscles, feeling that nice deep stretch in those legs. We got 4 more. 3. Last 2. Last 1. Good. All right. We're going to come to the end of our mat now and finish up our warm-up on the ground. So I'm going to scoot my mat forward just a bit, making sure I still have some room. Bringing my arms up to the side of my head with a flat back, shooting them down as I bring them down to my legs, and then walking them out into a plank position. For a plank, you want to make sure that you have your core engaged, your back is flat, your legs are fired up, and you are drawing a straight line from your shoulders to your wrist with your fingers nice and spread apart, facing forward. Once we are comfortable in this position, shoot your legs, your hips back, so we are now in a nice deep downward dog stretch. As we feel the stretch, maybe you can go ahead and walk your dog, bending your left leg and then bending your right leg. Just alternating between these 2 positions to wake up your body. Do a few more. Good. Coming back down, we're just going to alternate between our plank and our downward dog. So you can do this at whatever pace you want, like just holding each position for 3 seconds and then shifting between the two. So 1, 2, 3, and then shift back down. Hold 2, 3. Shoot your hips back, and then come back into plank. We'll do 2 more, and then we'll finish up our warm-up. Last one. And this time we're going to stay back up in our downward dog. And we're going to finish with some 3-legged dogs. So taking your right leg, shooting it up in the air with a nice pointed foot, making sure that your hips are not opening up. They're still square towards the side. We just have now one foot pointed. Once you feel comfortable with this position, you have the option to bring that foot through past your legs and then shifting into that plank position with your knee now by your elbow. Holding this position and then shooting those hips back, raising that leg up into the sky, back into our 3-legged dog. And then shifting in between these positions, doing a total of 5. So that's 2. We got 3 more, that's 3. Using that core as we come into our plank. That's 4. Last one on the right. That's 5. Good. Bringing that foot back down. We're just going to shoot back down into our downward dog. And this time lifting our left foot up in the air, foot pointed, hips still square towards the ground. Bringing that leg through past your other leg and knee to elbow. Using that core, continuing that plank position before we shoot it back up into our 3-legged dog. And just doing 5 of these. So this is 2. Feeling that deep muscle recruitment as we go into 3. Shooting that leg back for 4. And then last one as we finish our warm up. Shooting our leg back and bringing it through. Good job. Coming into a plank position, bringing those knees onto the ground and stretching back into child's pose. That finishes up our warm up. We're now going to transition into our arms portion. You do not need any weights for this. We will be doing entirely body weight. So we're going to start off our arms portion on the mat. Since today is express bar, I won't be giving you a lot of breaks, but feel free to pause if you're watching this and take a quick sip of water whenever you would like. So coming into a seated position, bring your hands right onto the mat, right by your shoulders, with your fingers facing towards your toes, palms spread out. With your feet bent, you're going to lift your hips off the ground, so you're in a nice tabletop position. We're going to be targeting our triceps, which are right here in our arm, the backs of our arms, with some nice tricep dips. If you have an elevated surface like a bench or a bed that you want to do these on, you have the option to do so. You would just straighten out your legs and do that. But if not, totally fine. We can do this on the mat. All you're going to do is, while looking 3 to 4 feet in front of you, we're just going to bend those arms and using our arms to lower our hips to the ground, touching our tailbone, and then straightening back up. Lowering down and straightening up. This is a great way to use your body weight to target those muscles. A lot of times recently we're having to do at-home workouts, so maybe you don't have a ton of weights. I know I don't, so body weight workouts have been some of my best friends during the past few months while at home and now while back at school. And these online workout classes through the rack have been a blessing. So we bend and straighten. We have 4 more, and then we're going to add in a pulse. 3. Last 2. Last 1. This time come down, we're pulsing for 10, 9. Tiny move up and down for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Lower back down. We're going to repeat that. We ended up doing 20 tricep dips and a 10-second pulse. We're going to half that by doing 10 tricep dips and a 5-second pulse. All right, coming back up into our positioning, we're going to have our fingers facing towards our toes, and we are going to use our tricep muscles to lower our hips towards the ground and straighten. That's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And pulse down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Ooh, feel that burn in those triceps. I know I am. Take a quick second to stretch out those wrists. We were just doing a lot of stuff on our wrists. So face your palm down into the mat and just give yourself a nice stretch of that wrist. And then switch arms. All right, we're going to transition into our standing body weight arm workout now. So once again, no weights needed. We're just going to start out by once again burning out those triceps before we transition to work the rest of our arms. So coming into a nice skier position, you're going to have your feet shoulder distance apart, facing in front of you, parallel. You're going to bend your legs, a nice deep bend in those legs. Hinge forward 45 degrees, looking 3 to 4 feet in front of you. Nice straight line down your back. You're going to have your arms straight by your sides with your palms facing away from you. And we're just going to pulse up. These pulses are a little bit bigger than the usual pulses we do. So maybe you're thinking more as we are raising and lowering, using this to isolate our triceps right here as we pulse up. A lot of times during these arm workouts, it's time to go into our happy place in our mind, especially with these body weight workouts as we burn out our muscles. So maybe thinking about something fun you have planned for the day, maybe getting lost in the music if you're listening to the music, whatever, maybe a podcast. Sometimes it's fun to listen to other people talk as we just burn out our muscles, whatever you want, or just the sound of my voice. You can get lost in the sound of my voice. That is also fine as we pulse up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. We're going to give those triceps a break now as we transition into the rest of our arms workout. Starting out, we're going to be in a nice wide stance, feet a little bit more than shoulder distance apart, facing your palms up and to the side. You're just going to pulse up for 2, then face your palms backwards so they're now facing towards the back wall, and you're just going to pulse back for 2. So pulse up, 2, flip back, back, 2, up, 2. For this, make sure you maintain a nice slight bend in those legs, not locking your knees. If you want to engage your legs a little bit, feel free to go into a nice deep rond plie as we pulse back and then up. This is isolating our shoulders. I'm sure you can feel it as we go through. Pulsing up for 2 and then back. Up, 2, back. Maybe as you do so, really thinking intentionally as we move up and down, making sure that our pulses aren't bouncing, but intentional movements with our muscles. Nice burn in those arms. As we go for 4, 3, last 2. We're keeping our arms up though, so not quite done yet. And 1. All right, facing those palms up, we're going to do a nice bicep curl, bending those legs if you're in maybe grand plie, and then straightening them. This is just us showing off our nice bar bicep muscles as we flex and straighten with our palms facing up. This is a nice way to pretend like we're Greek gods, maybe we're Hercules or Athena as we flex and straighten That's just what I like to picture. Whoever you want to picture is a-okay, or maybe you're just picturing yourself. Really creating that tension with your flexing, since we have no weights here. Feeling that burn from just lifting our muscles. Whew. So we go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Keeping those arms straight out, we're going to give them a nice slight bend with our palms facing up and then straightening. So bend and straighten. If you want, you can add in a slight plie and straighten. Really, I like to picture here, it's kind of like the Y move. You're like, why? Why? You're just shrugging your hands as you bend and straighten. Or maybe it's a fun little dance move, whip it out on the floor. So we bend and straighten, using those muscles to pull it in and straighten out. Feeling that heart rate raise even in this arm portion. Feeling that sweat come on as we go for 16 more here. So once again, going into that happy place. Whew. 8 more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. We're going to bring our legs slightly in, slightly deep, more shallow bend, and we're going to raise our arms above our head, palms facing out, elbows bent at 90 degrees, and we're just going to pretend to raise the roof. So it's like we're at a party. This is the party that we're doing at home, nice and safe, nice and distant and virtual, maybe adding a slight bend as we raise the roof. Maybe if you're listening to a killer song, doing it to the beat of that. We're raising the roof. Nice virtual dance party while burning out our arms. Whew. My arms are on fire. Maybe yours are too. If not, totally fine. If you want, you can always add in some light hand weights just to really round out the workout. We'll go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. We're going to bring our hands and finish up our arms workout with a nice chest press while standing. So bringing our feet shoulder distance apart, we're going to bring our palms together and our forearms with a nice slight bend in those legs, and we're just going to pulse up. We call this a prayer move, slightly bending your legs and a slight tilt in that flat back as we pulse up using that chest. As we isolate it up. This is the last move in our arms workout. So give it your all, feeling that burn. Maybe going to the beat if you're listening to music, or the beat of your own drum. As we pulse up. Whew. Here we go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Take a moment, roll those shoulders backwards, and then roll them forwards. Shoot that arm out in front of you, palm facing away, giving a nice slight tug on those fingers, shifting your weight between your right and your left foot, and then shifting to your other arm. Bringing that arm behind you, pushing that elbow down as you walk your fingers down your back. I always like to incorporate some stretching throughout our workout. It's important to stretch at the end, but it never hurts to also add in some after each little portion. And then switching arms to our left, walking those fingers down our back for a nice deep stretch. Good job. That finishes up our arm workout. We're now going to transition into our bar. I'm going to grab a quick sip of water. I encourage you to do the same throughout our workout. Alrighty, so transitioning into our bar workout, you'll need a place to rest your hands. That can be a chair, desk, table, anything you want, or you can balance, just make sure you're being very cognizant of the space and being careful with your movement. We're going to start with one hand on the bar with our feet in a nice first position. We're just going to be isolating our calves this morning. So for first position, you want your ankles to be almost touching, but not completely. Nice slight turnout and nice V in those legs, and resting one hand on the bar. And we're just going to come up into releve or onto the balls of our feet, and then lowering back down. And just increasing the pace using our calves as we go up and down. I used to do point when I was in ballet, so we would wear these shoes that would have a nice hard bottom. We'd go all the way up into releve. This is a lot less painful than that, thankfully, which is why I love bar. We get to isolate some workout, some muscles, and incorporate some ballet. But it's a little bit more relaxed than traditional ballet. We're not ballerinas, we're just here to incorporate some of their methods and movements to get a nice workout in. Oh, I'm feeling that burn in our calves. We'll go for 8 more, and then we'll add in a pulse. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're just going to go halfway down and all the way up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Lowering those feet. We're now going to come into into a nice parallel position. We're going to be doing the same combination of going into releve, isolating our calves, and then a pulse. We're just now doing it in a slightly different position. So parallel, feet facing forward. We're just going to have our hand on our hip still, and straighten and lower coming up into releve. Maybe a little bit harder this time since we just burned out those calves, but we're really gonna do nice full burn. We got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Halfway down, all the way up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. We're going to finish out this calf burnout with a slightly different position, this time in inverted first position. So facing your toes slightly in, making a nice triangle with those feet. Your toes are not touching, they're just slightly turned in, comfortably so. And with one hand resting on the bar, we're just going to be doing the same thing, raising our feet into releve and lowering. We're just going from first to parallel to inverted first. Slightly working on a slightly different area of those calf muscles, really burning them out. I will feel this tomorrow morning. You probably will too, as we straighten and lower for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Halfway down, all the way up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. We are now going to transition into our next portion of our bar workout, incorporating a ballet move called an assemblée. So shooting your leg out into second position, still with one hand on the bar. We're just going to start out with a nice deep grand plie like we were doing on our warm-up. Knees above your ankles as we bend and straighten. Getting comfortable. If you want, your arm feels nice and rested, you can shoot it out into second position, and adding on, you can raise it above your head as you straighten. Just getting comfortable with this as we go for 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're gonna add on. So this time coming into a nice deep grand plie. When you straighten, you're going to shoot your weight onto your inside foot. For me, that is my left foot, with a nice straight leg and a pointed leg for that outside foot. And then using that outside foot and using that inner thigh, we're going to cross in our front foot, or our outside foot in front of our right foot with a nice flexed foot turned out, and then coming back into a nice grand plie. So shooting that weight with a nice pointed foot, then flexing it, using that inner thigh to cross, and then coming back down. Then adding in that arm once again, raising it above your head as you come up, and shooting it out into second when you come down. This is just a nice way to isolate that inner thigh. A lot of times it's hard to find at-home workouts that can do that. I like to find some fun new ways to incorporate ballet moves. If you're a ballerina, you might recognize an assemblée. It's a jump movement, but this is a nice way to change things up a bit. Whew. We got 4 more, and then we're going to stay up with a pulse. 3, last 2, 1, staying up with a nice flex foot. You're just gonna pulse in, crossing and uncrossing, keeping those hips square, not opening up, using that inner thigh to cross, making sure it's just your heel brushing the ground. So you squeeze in, squeeze in, squeeze in, keeping that core engaged, making sure, maybe feeling a squeeze in those glutes, completely normal. Using that inner thigh to squeeze, 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 squeeze. We got 8 more. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. We're now going to transition onto our other side. So I'm going to transition to use my bed a bit just because I want to be smiling at you all as we do this together, but transition so your opposite arm is now face holding onto the bar. I'm going to use this as my little fake bar, whatever we can do at home. So with your opposite hand now on the bar, shoot your leg out into a nice deep second position grand plie as we bend and straighten once again, and then bringing that left arm for me up and out. Picturing when you come up, you're zipping your legs up and then unzipping them. It's a nice visual to make sure that we are in the correct positioning. We got 4 more. 3, 2, 1. All right, adding on, we're going back into that grand plie, shifting our weight onto our inside foot with a straight leg, bringing that outside leg in with a nice flex foot, using that inner thigh as we cross, and then come back into second. Cross into second. This is engaging our glutes and using our inner thigh. Also incorporating those arms, getting very laser focused on my feet, but it's nice to incorporate the full body. I'm feeling that heat generated from our movement. Whew. Nice flex and bend. We got 8 more. 4 more. And then we're gonna do our pulse. 2, last one. Staying up with a flex foot, pulsing in, squeeze, squeeze, keeping that positioning, using that heel and that inner thigh as we cross, 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 cross. Once again, going to whatever happy place you need to, especially during our pulses. Those can be killer. They're a great way to really include all those muscles. We got 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. All right, we're gonna finish up our bar with both hands on our bar, feet facing towards it with nice parallel. Picturing you have spotlights on your hips so that they are square and facing towards the front. You're gonna give yourself a nice slight lean into that bar if you can, if it's not stable. So I'm gonna scoot it slightly forward so it doesn't move as much. If not, just resting both those hands on the bar. Either one works. Just slight lean just is a little bit of a different way to do this. So with a slight bend in your left leg, you're going to straighten out your right leg into a nice 90-degree positioning with a flexed foot. And you're going to bring that foot in past your leg towards your chest for a nice crunch, and then straightening it out so your foot is kicking up towards the ceiling. Bringing in for a crunch, and then up towards the ceiling. Nice slow movement to start out, making sure we are still picturing those spotlights on our hips, making sure they're not opening up, really isolating those glutes. So we kick up towards the ceiling, picturing that flat, the bottom of your foot is touching the ceiling. Squeeze in and up. Whew. Just really burn out those glutes as we finish up our bar portion. After this, we just have our core and then, of course, our cool down and stretching. Could not forget those. We got 4 more, and then you know it, we got a pulse. 3, last 2, 1, just pulse up, moving up and down an inch. You probably can tell at this point, a lot of pulsing in bar. Just a great way to really burn out those muscles, overload them, to really just give yourself a nice full-rounded, well-rounded workout. Sometimes it's hard to find the words in the morning, guys. You might experience this. We got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing that foot in, we're going to transition, finish up our bar portion with our left foot. So slight bend in that leg. We're going to have a nice 90-degree bend in our left foot, and we're going to bring it in towards our chest and then up towards the ceiling with a nice flat foot. So in and then bringing it out. Isolating that glute, picturing those spotlights, making sure that they are still on and your hips are square towards the bar. Bring it in and then out. Crunching in and out. Last portion of our standing bar, and then we'll go into our core and cool down. Pulsing up and down. We got 4 more, and then we got our pulses. 3, last 2, last 1, pulse up. I am feeling this in both my lifted leg and my standing leg. That is completely normal. They're both working to give yourself a nice workout and help you get in this position. So we pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. That finishes up our standing bar portion. Maybe giving yourself a nice quick glute stretch by crossing that right leg over your left with a nice flexed foot and bending down into a nice chair position. Switching legs, left leg over right, nice flexed foot. We come down. All right, we're almost done with our class before we transition into our cool down. So coming down onto your back, we are going to start out with our core. So with your feet flat on the ground, you want to have a nice flat back, giving yourself a nice tilt in that flat back, 45-degree bend. Placing your arms out in front of you, you're just going to open to the side and then bring to the center, and then open to the side and bring to the center. These are just some nice ballet arms to really burn out those obliques. So we open and close using our core to stabilize it. So open and close. Feeling that burning, maybe some slight shaking. If you're not feeling the burn, maybe leaning slightly more back. And if you're really feeling it, what you can do, I'm going to scoot out a bit, is lift those legs off the ground and open. I am feeling that shaking. That is completely normal. We are burning out those muscles. Open and close. We got 4 more. 3, 2, 1. Good job. Lower those feet onto the ground. We're going to lower down, slowly stacking each vertebra as we come down. We're going to finish up by targeting our core a bit more. So raising your feet into tabletop, knees above your ankles. We're just going to lower one foot onto the ground, tapping that toe, and then raising it back up. Tapping. So we are working our lower core. And if you would like, you can add in another option by bringing those feet to your temples, lifting your shoulders, and twisting to bring opposite elbow to opposite knee. And trying not to knock things over, which I am failing at. Using that core as we shift between the two. If you want, going into double time to really finish up this core workout. Opposite for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. We are almost done. We're going to transition onto our body, we're going to shift onto our belly so we can finish up our workout by targeting the back of our core. So lying flat down on the ground, making sure you have room, stretching your arms out in front of you and feet out behind you, looking down towards the mat. You're going to raise up, like you're Superman flying in the air, looking down, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lowering back down. And we're going to lift again, raising for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lowering back down. Lifting again. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this time when we raise, we're going to flutter kick our feet. So raising back up, we're going to shake our hands, moving opposite arm and leg down at the same time, like we're swimming through the air, holding for 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Lower down. That finishes up the work of our workout. We're now going to finish up with some stretching. So bringing your hips back into a nice child's pose. Stretching out those arms in front of you, breathing in for 2, and then exhaling. One more breath in. Coming back up, we're going to bring our right leg forward into a nice lunge. If you would like, you can lift that back leg up off the ground for a nice deep lunge. Lifting that right arm up towards the sky for a nice deep stretch. Breathing in and out. Lowering that hand, shooting that right leg back, and then bringing the left one forward for a nice deep stretch again. Lifting your left arm up towards the ceiling, looking up towards it. Lowering it back down, and then shooting that leg back out. Shooting your hips back into downward dog. Flexing one foot and straightening the other to really stretch out those calves. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Walking those feet towards your hands so they're meeting at the end of your mat. Bending your legs and straightening them. Reaching your arms as close as you can down to the floor, comfortably so. Rolling up slowly, stacking each vertebra on top of each vertebra. Coming to facing forward, bringing that arm across your body, Just like we did in the warm-up, making sure to not grab that elbow. Just keeping a nice slight bend in those legs. And then switching to the other hand. Rolling out those shoulders behind you with a nice slight bend in those legs. And then in front of you. Finishing with a nice slight stretch of that neck by taking your fingers and pulling slightly towards the left and then shifting to the right. Finishing, bringing your arms up above your head with a nice plie and stretch and breath. And bring your arms to heart center. One more time, thanking your body and yourself for putting all the hard work in that you just did. With a nice deep breath, hands to heart center. And that finishes up our Express Barre class. I will go ahead and end the recording now. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye.